Welcome to the podcast, Mr. Mathew Pritchard. How are we, sir?
I've never done a round of applause.
There we go.
Very good, man. Very good. I've just been in. I came to London last night at a hotel. It's a really small hotel, but you only need a bed and a shower and a shitter, and you're good to go. So.
Was it one of those ones that's separated, even the bathroom is separated by like a tiny little door? So if you were sharing with someone, you might feel a little bit nervous.
No, the bed literally just fit. You couldn't even walk at the edge of the bed. Well, you could, but you had to squeeze down there. And it was, I don't know, I just walked in and I thought, stop being so up your own ass. That's his bed. And I'm like, cool. And then I woke up this morning and I've just done Sunday Live for the BBC, and now I remember you guys.
Nice. How was that?
Yeah, it was good. I normally get really nervous doing them kind of things, but I was good today.
Nice.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I'm glad to hear. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us on They Think It's All Sober.
Thank you for having me.
I would say Pritchard had to watch me lose my car keys in a cafe and nearly have a meltdown because I thought my car keys had been left somewhere on the streets of Hackney. So I was just expecting to be in here recording and hear a beep now.
And I thought I was going to be stuck in London waiting for them to get my bag and stuff out.
But we made it.
But no, so yeah, like I said, thanks for coming on. I mean, I know you've got a book that's just come out, Dirty Vegan, and I think it would be great to kind of get into that a bit later on and, hear how that came about and, how that's all going. Generally with the podcast, I guess probably a lot of maybe the vegan side ties into sobriety, probably part of your journey. What we usually do is kind of hit a little time machine, take you back and talk about, some of your relationships with drink while growing up, then through, I guess, your career that you've had, and what the kind of function of alcohol was. And then, I guess move into all the kind of wonderful benefits that sobriety's brought and your career and everything since then. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Do you want to step into my time machine?
Sounds like a euphemism, that one.
Mate, well, maybe it is.
There you go.
And we're back.
Well, I'm back to where it first started.
To young Mathew Pritchard. I guess when you were growing up, we always kind of reference that generally alcohol has a bit of a timeline for most people. We call it the good, the bad, and the ugly. For most people, there might be in a time in their life where there might have been a slightly healthier relationship with alcohol. But we always find that it's useful to look, sort of growing up, what your relationship with alcohol was like. Whether it was relatively healthy growing up and sort of where things started to go a bit crazy.
I think I've been thinking about this quite a lot. My first memory of drinking was when I went on a ski holiday with school, and you sort of like, you managed to get hold of a pint. And you shared it between a few of you, and you think, I'm drunk. And but you're really excited. You're clearly not drunk, because you've drunk like you've had a sip. You're drunk. But it was that. And then when we were on the slopes, our ski teacher had schnapps, and this was in Austria. So we passed it. It's a tradition on the ski slopes. So a shot of cherry snaps or whatever it is. But that's my first sort of memory. And my first memory of going to a pub to buy, that time where you go, right, I'm old enough to go into a pub and ask for a pint of beer. And it's really nerve-wracking. Because I was like, I'm walking the pub. What do I say? Like, you don't even know what brand to choose. I just walked in. I said, I was Model Inn in Cardiff, and I said, can I have a pint lager, please? He went, which one? I went, just a pint. He said, this? Yeah. So I had it. That's where it began, really. And this was, I didn't really properly drink until I was about, 20, 21? So I wasn't a really early starter. I'd have like sips here and there when I was on the holiday, skiing holiday.
Yeah.
But it was not as in, let's go drinking, until I was about 20, 21.
So would you say your friendship group and your family group weren't really heavy drinkers, so it wasn't really anything around you that felt like
my mum and dad are flat out.
Right.
They'll kill me when they see this. But they won't flat out. What they used to do was we didn't have much money, so they wouldn't be able to afford to be like flat out drinkers anyway. But my dad would always have 4 cans of McEwan's.
Right.
Old school ale.
Yeah.
And my mother would have her friends around on the weekend, and they'd drink a flagon of cider, whilst my dad and his mate, my mother's friend's husband, would go to the pub on a Friday night, and that's what they used to do.
Right.
But yeah, there was a lot of alcohol around the family.
Yeah.
But my parents are strict, so there was no way they were giving us any alcohol until we were of age.
Sure. That's interesting. So I guess from your perspective, your relationship personally was actually relatively normal and quite healthy until early 20s?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, I was just so into skateboarding.
Right.
I was obsessed with skateboarding. I didn't have no time to fucking drink. I wasn't interested in. I just wanted to go skateboarding. Why would I get pissed and not be able to go skateboarding? So that was my addiction then, was skateboarding. Until, because I was very shy, like extremely shy.
Okay.
And then as my skateboarding progressed, I got we started traveling a bit more with our mates and stuff to skateboard events. My shyness was pretty prevalent, because by meeting new people I was even more shyer. And then and what helps somebody who's really, really shy?
Yeah.
A pint.
Yeah, a drink, yeah.
So we'd go away, and then I'd be drinking, and I was sponsored then as well, and then so I'd be going off with teams on weekends. I used to remember getting such bad anxiety and butterflies just because I was so nervous and shy. And then as soon as I had a beer, everything was all right.
Right. So I guess for you early on, the function of alcohol was to calm your nerves and almost become a character that you felt like you could function in those environments.
I found alcohol, when I found that alcohol calmed my nerves and I could be a better person. Well, you say a better person, but in my head, I could talk to people. Then that's when I found my love for alcohol. Right, that's it. This thing's doing something for me. It's helping me come out of my shell. But at the same time, after a few beers, I was quite a performer. So I started to get a bit of a name for... Every time I got pissed, I perform and play the clown. And I found that also gave me the confidence to be more of a clown and make people laugh and stuff. So at an early age, that was Pritchard.
Right.
I've always had like a different person.
Yeah.
Mathew is the guy, like, no. He was quiet, shy, didn't really say much. And then when he'd had a drink, then the Pritchard come out, the lunatic.
Yeah. Gotcha. So timeline wise, I guess skating was like the highlight of, childhood, growing up, taking it seriously, getting sponsored, doing a bit of sort of touring, traveling with that. And then I guess, then you're saying the alcohol, you found its kind of purpose, calming nerves, doing that. What was the sort of timeline between this and I guess like the birth of Dirty Sanchez? Because I suppose like this whole like timeline for me, and I remember vividly when that came on the scene, is because being a kid and growing up, and the same thing, playing in metal bands, skating, watching Jackass, and then suddenly one day I remember someone saying to me, "Have you seen these fucking lunatics?" I was like, "No," and then suddenly everyone was like, "Fuck me, these guys are insane." So what was the timeline between that? Like, how old were you when that was all kind of kicking off? And
well, I was 26 when Sanchez kicked off.
Yeah.
But then from that, when I first started drinking 2021, up until then, I really did get a name in the skate industry for my drinking.
Right.
And my partying and all that kind of stuff. And the behaviours I used to bring to skate comps, I was just get up to no good, wrecking things and smashing things up and hotels and sort of the rock and roll stuff without the fucking bankroll.
Yeah,
but,
know that well.
Yeah, and I'd bring other people with this. You'd find these people in the skate community who were like you, and then you'd sort of join forces, and you were just like, yeah. Anyway, and I think that's the sort of stuff that helped doing the Sanchez stuff, because that alcohol was very big part of it.
Yeah.
But when we did the Pritchard versus Dayton video, and when I was 26, Sanchez happened. Then the money came in, and then that opened the doors to, because I never touched drugs, see.
Right,
I never touched anything. It was just booze, and maybe you'd have LSD when you were younger or something, or mushrooms. But then the Class A's came in as soon as the Sanchez stuff came in.
Right.
Just a quick question before we dive into that. I was intrigued as to, like, you said you've got Mathew and you've got Pritchard. In that sort of 21 to 26 phase, as you were discovering drink, did you ever get home from those comps and like sober up and be like, oh, fucking hell, Mathew hated how, I'm sure it's not this black and white, but Mathew hated how Pritchard behaved? Or did you find that they started to merge into one character?
Because we'd have skate comps, so you'd either go to Northampton, Radlands, or St Albans,
I remember
Pioneer.
Yeah.
And I'd be put on such a performance and I'd be puking all over the place. And I was sponsored at the time. And on the Monday, I'd get a call from Alvin, who was the boss of Face Avenue, used to sort me out my sponsorship stuff's going, oh, what were you up to on the weekend? Oh, it's just, having a laugh. This has got to stop, because I guess I was bringing the company and everything into disrepute. But the amount of times I got told off for my behaviour in skate comps and all that kind of stuff, but yeah.
Interesting. Was that kind of sobering for you at all? How did you feel when you got those calls? Was it like, oh,
I'll do
fuck
it again?
I'll do it, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't want to see a CUNT to Alvin, because he was such a nice guy and he really did look after me. And I didn't do it to wind him up. I just enjoyed doing that kind of stuff, and everyone else, I guess, enjoyed watching me doing it, or I wouldn't have done it. Yeah. So he was like the performing clown was like, oh.
We talk about that a lot with alcohol, is like the selfishness. And even if you're not trying to hurt anyone, when you're in that zone, performative alcohol, you do just naturally think, oh yeah, it's fine. And that's what starts to damage all the little things around you without really realising.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. So I guess at this point, Dirty Sanchez kicks off. You obviously start seeing the coin hit the bank.
The cash
the cash money. And like you say, so the drugs start to become more prevalent. Just, I guess what was the first time where you saw the money and it kind of came in and you thought?
I don't think it was the first time I did drugs when I was 26.
Yeah.
No, it was. I know it wasn't, but it was more accessible.
Sure.
At that age, I dabbled in ecstasy and all that kind of stuff. And then like you said, when Sanchez happened, the money went in the bank, and when you're at that age and with the lads, when you're getting paid to just do crazy shit, then it's on the menu, isn't it? It's part and parcel of it. It's like having a pie with no gravy. You just don't.
Yeah. And I suppose due to the nature of what, like, I guess Sanchez was, it was chaotic, right? It was. So, and I guess maybe the whole drink and drugs, did that just feed into the dynamic of the program?
Oh yeah. we'd a lot of the stuff you see in the day on Sanchez, we were sober. Or we may have been still going from the night before. Right. But mainly it was all sober. Any stuff you see that was in the house that we were in, especially in the first series, we were absolutely off our heads or drunk, because we'd just go back there and that was our base. And we just constantly entertain ourselves. And we would, some of the best footage is from that house as well.
I was going to ask actually about, like, did it feel like enabling at the time from, I guess, like production teams and television teams? Because obviously, like, nowadays, I think there's a duty of care probably around alcohol and drugs with television. But I'm imagining back then, were people encouraging you, or was it very much like, we're just going to turn a blind eye, you do what you do, and as long as we get the shots?
They never encouraged us at all.
Right.
It was our decision, and I guess your money, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So it was life back then was completely different to what it is now. I couldn't see that happening now. Like if you were going to all getting, you filming the same show, but you were all getting lined up and off your head, then we'll say, now we can't film it.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to, because if anything happened, the company will get done for it. Yeah. Back then, it was just what's the good thing about it?
Yeah.
Do what you want. Who gives a shit? And if it makes you do some better footage because you're so fucked, like,
I'm guessing back then as well, it was before smartphones, really, right? That were capturing everything. So what was being captured had to be via the cameras. It's not like nowadays, you could probably not even have a crew there, and it would just be everyone filming themselves and the chaos. It was very much like had to be filmed As was.
Yeah, cool, Christ. Yeah. Tried to think what the camera phones would have caught back in the day, especially if you had people around your house, like guests and stuff. But we had a bloody police van parked outside the house.
What, like a permanent fixture?
Permanent thing, yeah. Because they were like, the guy next door, we drove him crackers.
Oh my God.
And we found out we had an art problem. It just felt so bad. But then the noise pollution got so bad, the cops went, right, we're parked here for the night. One little peep of noise, and you're all arrested.
Wow.
So we just carried on did it quietly.
So let's so what in timeline, you were sort of 26 when that was going on. How long was that going on for? How many years was Sanchez going?
My full partying career was a 30, because with skateboarding, Sanchez, everything I did involved partying, alcohol, everything that came with it.
Yeah.
And I'd say my dedication to the cause was a 30-year stint, and that was it. 30 years.
Wow.
Just and it came when Sanchez happened to 26. That was the height, and I'd say from about 26 years old to about 33 or 34, I was flat out.
Yeah.
Like proper, like going for it. And then after that, it did start easing off a little bit. It was still there.
So what would like a day entail for you, or like a session if you were going on a mad one? Can you give us like a little breakdown of like what an average Pritchard night out would be?
I mean, they were all different. Like you go on the Gumball Rally, it was 24/7 for a whole week. Everything.
Yeah.
I never slept in a bed. And Gumball, it was just a few winks in the car and then get up and do the same thing again. But it is that. I said this story quite a few times, but I was with Panch and the two of us, and our drug dealer at the time. And me and Panch stayed in the MTV house, drank these small bottle beers, and every beer we finished, we chucked at the wall, smashed it, went all over the living room floor. So they all living just looked like a glass factory. And then we phoned up the dealer, she came over, and we ordered about 100 pills or something like that, and I think we had about 33 each. And that was over. I literally speaking to Panch about it the other day, and we had sniff as well. We had pills, and we slowly just boom, 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 boom. And then I had to go and watch the rugby the next day, Wales versus New Zealand in the Millennium Stadium. Wow. And Panch said, I'm not going in, I'm too off my head. I went, I'm going. So on my own, literally licking my eyebrows off.
Oh my God.
And I sat there in the stage.
Oh my God.
And the entertainment was more, like I knew, because everyone around me was just tapping them. Stay in that guy. And I was just like, I think he's not
different planet.
Yeah, different planet. And I was more entertainment than the actual game. And then I got up and I remember walking up Salisbury Road, went to the pub, and I had ordered a Boddingtons because it was creamy and smooth and easy to get down because you got that gag thing from all the pills. I went back to the house. Panch was like, hi, Panch. How was the game?
Did you crack on?
Huh?
Did you crack on?
I think we did for a little bit, yeah. And then just managed to go to sleep. But that was fucking daft as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of... But I'm still here to tell it.
No, I was going to ask though, because I guess like, was there a point where you felt like, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but where the character, the TV show, the new lifestyle, did you ever in your head feel like you wanted to stop or calm down, or did you fully just embody it and were like, I'm just going to go till I stop?
When Sanchez happened, I absolutely loved it. I was in heaven, and it was just great. Like I was so stoked. We had a TV show. I'm hanging out with my best mates, and we're just doing the best stuff ever. It felt like we cheated the system. You know, I'm not doing a 9 to 5. I'm getting paid to go and wreck my mates, travel around the world, have a laugh. Now, what's not to like at that age? But then, and you know, everyone's coming up to you. Everyone loves what you're doing. Everyone wants your autograph and stuff. And it's fucking brilliant. I can never complain about it. But you know, towards the end, yes, just. As you get older, like all of us, can't carry on that kind of stuff forever, and it starts doing your head in then. And I was still to this day, I'm not I'll always give people the time of day, even though I'm not in the mood for it. But
Sure.
yeah, it was good. It was really, really good. But then I got older and I just wanted a bit of a quieter life.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was it kind of manifesting physically and mentally for you when you got into your 30s and you started, obviously thinking about toning it down a little? Did you have anxiety? Were you feeling like the hangovers were fucking horrendous, or was it just a kind of more of a decision like, I should probably not do this as much?
I didn't really know what anxiety was then.
Right.
This is the difference between me now and me back then.
Right.
Back then, I didn't know what panic attacks were. I didn't know what anxiety was. I was so naive back then, and that was the beauty of it. Because I was so naive, didn't know. I don't care what was going on in the world. I wasn't clued up. My brain was asleep. I was just getting on with things with not a care in the world, because I didn't know. I didn't know anything better. But then as I got older, I like to call it towards 40, slowly 40, from the age of 40 going up. I think this is why they might say life begins at 40. I could be wrong. But I slowly but surely started seeing through a lot of the bullshit and this. And then over the years, I just kept more. And I don't know what they did to me when I was younger. Whether they put a jab in my arm and said, right, you're going to be naive as fuck and you're just going to do whatever without a care in the world. And then when that must have run out, and then I started seeing stuff. And when you start seeing stuff, your head starts thinking. And then I think that's where, when I realised what anxiety was, panic attacks, and that's when things sort of changed a little bit.
Sure.
Well, not a little bit, a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how long have you been sober for now?
October the 6th, 2022.
Nice. So we are, what are we now?
What, me and you?
It's about
2024.
15 months.
15 months.
Yeah,
nice.
15 months.
Okay.
Nice.
I mean, I kidded myself quite a few times. I said, cleaning my act up. I did 2018, 2019. I only keep it for special occasions. Of course I didn't.
Yeah.
Special occasions started, and then they went into, the next thing I know is I was back to normal. And for the year of, that's it, lockdown. Lockdown, it was a bad year for a lot of people who got addictions and stuff, because the boredom just started. I mean, I was drinking really heavily. I was pissing the bed, all that kind of bollocks. And I was training to row for the Atlantic Ocean.
Wow.
Right.
Because in 2021 I rode from Lanzarote to Antigua. So I was training and drinking like a loot, because I had a Concept 2 in the house, a row machine. So trying to put the hours on the row machine at the same time drinking like a fucking lunatic.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that then. So obviously, like, Dirty Sanchez ends, you kind of come into your own as a human being, and the journey begins there. I've heard you pick up on fitness. Is that something you got into quite quickly, or you were into the whole time? Because obviously the partying lifestyle did continue, right? So I'd love to hear a bit about like how partying and fitness can coexist, because for me it certainly cannot.
Yeah, I did. I wanted to do the Cardiff Half Marathon again. This was 2011, 2009. So I did the Cardiff Half, loved it, found a new buzz in that kind of stuff, and like I said, my addictive personality kicked in with that then. And then my mate said he was running from John O'Groats to Land's End. Do you want to do it? Yes. So ran that. Then entered my first Ironman 2011.
Wow.
So I'm still doing all this, but at the same time burning the candle at both ends then. And then one Ironman wasn't enough. And then that's when I went on my journey, my fitness journey then, trying to find the longest, hardest endurance races on the planet.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that helped.
So doing this kind of fitness stuff, did that kind of make you, I mean, I guess it's good, we're going to lead into your book and the cooking side of stuff, but were you aware about the nutrition side of stuff that went along with it, or were you still kind of unaware at this point? Were you just kind of doing it, fueling yourself on whatever, or were you kind of aware of like the nutritional aspects that your body needed to kind of get through those endurance events?
I just did it. I think I was still eating meat at the time.
Right.
eating dairy and everything. But, you know, I done quite a few, well, actually, 2011, 2012, my boat parties in Ibiza started.
Right.
So the first year, 2011, I was flying back and forth to Ibiza and trying to train. And then then I did Ironman Bolton again on the 2012. And I did it without any training. I thought, I'll be all right. I managed to do it, almost killed myself. Wow. And then 2013, I was going to go and live in Ibiza for the season. And I took my bike and all my training stuff. I thought, training here in Ibiza, ready for Ironman Wales, which is notoriously hard because there's so much climbing. I'll be all right. Of course, you go to Ibiza to go training.
Not a lot of training happens.
The only fucking training was fucking that and that. And was, oh. But I did do a lot. I did do some training. It was really nice, man. Riding around Ibiza and going into the middle of Ibiza. It was just gorgeous. And then when you start, because I lived opposite Ocean Beach.
Right.
So I'd get up at 6 in the morning to go riding, and there was just people
gurning
everywhere, and I'm on my bike just going, this is fucking brilliant.
That's great.
But I managed to do some training, but nothing what I needed for Ironman Wales. And then I got to Ironman Wales in September when I got back home and failed drastically.
Really? Mm. I mean, we've had a few guests on. I mean, one of my best mates, Adam, did his first Ironman this year, and he did the same because I had my stag doing Ibiza in summer, and I think we had, what was it, 30 people came out in the end, and he was doing the Ironman Barcelona, and he brought his bike out and was the same. You know, me and Jamie weren't drinking, there were a few of us that weren't drinking, but he was going out in the morning while still a load of the other lads were still up, doing like 120k around the island and, you know, coming back in. So it was lovely, but fucking hot.
Yeah, it's the flat here, man, as well.
Yeah.
Barcelona.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, he said how hard it was for him to do the Ironman. He's, you know, the same, he's vegan, he's trained hard, he eats well, he does it all. And yeah, said it's designed to be one of the toughest things, right? So, and by the sounds of it, the Wales one's going to be very tough.
Yeah, it's just a lot of climbing.
Yeah.
A lot of climbing. and the run is uphill as well, so... Yeah, I found out.
So would you say in your nature then you are, I always hate saying the term addictive personality, but it sounds like, and from, you know, knowing your journey, that everything you do, you seem to really throw yourself into. So was there a moment on that journey where you were like, fuck, I should probably turn down the partying if I want to do better at this fitness journey?
Yeah, and no, because in my stupid head, I think I can still dedicate my party and dedicate my training. But obviously I clearly wasn't, but I was trying my best. But anything I do is always, what's the point? If you're going to do something, what's the point?
Yeah.
Do it half-hearted, just get it all.
Get it done.
Get absolutely everything.
I could never just have 2 pints. It was either 20 or none.
It's the same year, man. I mean, when it was, you cut long story short, October the 6th, 2022, I was like, this just has to stop, because I pretty much had I had a mental breakdown. I couldn't stop crying. I was catching the train to London for jobs and stuff, crying. I lost out on a lot of work because my anxiety just got so bad. I just lost my fucking marbles, and on top of, it was just, and I just said, I went to London for a meeting for my book, for the 3rd book now, and I couldn't even hold myself in a meeting because my anxiety was so bad. And I just spoke to my agent, and he said, do you want to speak to the therapist that we got? And I was like, oh, yes, please. So I gave him a ring. I drove to London, Harley Street, darling.
Darling, yeah.
I drove from Cardiff a dickhead o'clock in the morning, because at the time I would have done anything just to try and sort myself out, because I was just in a bad place. So I drove there, and he was like, where have you come from Cardiff? He said, what? I said, honestly, and I sat there and I told him everything. And he's like, oh, fucking hell. He said, yeah, I can work with you. His name's Chips. Chip Summers, and he's absolutely brilliant. And I was with him. I've been with him now way over a year, and I didn't really believe in all that therapist stuff, but he's helped me. He's helped me no end. I speak to him now once a month. It was once every week. Yeah. But now it's come down to once a month, and I feel like I'm slowly but surely getting back on track again. It's still work in progress. Yeah. But from the person I was this time last year, I wouldn't be sitting here with you because I was that bad.
Good to hear though, because it's hard to think that we've both done a lot of therapy, and we're big advocates of it because it can seem like such a scary thing. And again, I think I always had the notion of like, I know my own brain. This is just who I am. And then once you sit there and talk, and whether it's from sort of childhood all the way through to modern day, and you start to unplug everything. For me, it was life-changing. I think you feel the same, right, Tom?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's when you look back with them, because they take you right back, don't they? And then things start making sense, and it's just like, I've not lost friendships. I've just, my stomach's just talking to me.
The twiglets.
There's people I know who I can be with now, and there's people, not being bad, they just not, they don't serve me anymore, so.
Yeah.
I just need to be with the right people, the people who love me, and I love them. Yeah. And I stay away from all that kind of stuff. I don't really go out anymore because I don't want the temptation, but I did go out. Every now and again I go out. Went up New Year's Eve, watched my mate DJ, and backstage for me brings, I started this a bit wrong. We turned up at the gig and we went backstage where my mate was. And for me, a backstage area, after all years of Sanchez and live gigs, it only represents one thing, and that's fucking
carnage.
Line everything up, open the beers up, let's go. So I sat there and I'm like, I thought, and there was loads of people in there. And my anxiety started kicking in. I was like, oh, no. And my missus noticed. She said, you're right. I said, no. I said, I might just fucking go now. Can't handle it. And then somebody came over to speak to me, and my anxiety just went. Yeah. And I was like, oh, right, okay now. So watched this gig, came backstage, and then everyone else just started lining up and drinking and started talking shit. And then that was when I just make my excuses and
left.
Just going and driving home New Year's Eve for the second time in 2 years. And I just drove home.
Good feeling, isn't it?
Oh, it's fucking great, yeah. And my missus come in at 6:30 in the morning, absolutely wrecked, and I'm like proper cocky.
Good morning.
I'm off for a run. See you later.
yeah.
Now we love that. We always say, actually, for me, one of the best things about going sober is driving and fucking off. Because you just feel it's something you can't really explain to people that still drink, and it's not like a high horse thing. I think for when you've been like in positions where I would have been the one getting in at 6:30, that like strength to leave and then just be in the car, it is this internal like warmth that I can't really explain. It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good. What is either that or stay there and or do your own head in, or speaking to your mates as much as you love them, but you just don't want to hear the same thing
you just don't hear the same
over and over again. Like
it's
boring.
Yeah, proper.
But I'm glad the therapy route seems to be working for you, and it kind of resonates with me because it took me quite a while after stopping drinking to feel better. It wasn't immediate. My anxiety was at an all-time high. I had to I had a show I played Ultra main stage like 3 weeks after stopping drinking, managed to drag myself onto a plane, managed to do the show in front of like 40,000 people, and I was fucked. The therapy really helped me get through those first like 3 or 4 months when I felt worse.
What do you DJ do?
Yeah.
So you see you every time you go DJ, it's just common knowledge you do that as part of the scene, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. But what was really refreshing actually is because we had a tune out with a DJ called Armin van Buren, who's
I know.
Yeah, he's a legend, like one of the old OG kind of trance DJs. And when we were doing a music video with him, we were on his boat, and I said, I've stopped drinking. And he's like, me too. He's like, I've stopped 3 years ago. He goes, because as a DJ, you only have one choice. It's either stop drinking or you die. And he said, I'm in a WhatsApp group with like 96 other guys who DJs. He's like, if you want to jump in, there for support. And
was that your support group?
yeah, and he was like, if you want to do that, he's there, and he had loads of Heineken Zeros, and I was like, holy shit, this like world does exist, and you can do it sober, and there's enough support there doing it. So that kind of really actually helps get through that first month, because in Miami, I think I probably could have like crumbled. I like could have been, that was like the hardest test where I could have just, you know, had a beer to just try and relieve some of that anxiety I was feeling. But yeah, I think it was all meant to be, you know, he helped, the therapy, this and that, and, you know, long term, it's taken a little while, whereas you have some people, I mean, for example, Jamie, who felt...
I'm a smug prick.
He felt amazing within like the month. He's
I was
like,
really lucky.
And,
30 days was like... life was really...
30 days of...
sobriety. Just, I felt like I'd a life hack. Like I was in the Matrix.
It took my therapist said 3 months is the hardest part.
Yeah.
And then after 3 months, it starts getting easier and easier.
I found exactly that.
Yeah.
It was like 100 days and I started feeling, more alive. And you just it wasn't like a sudden revelation. It was suddenly like, oh, I haven't felt that horrific anxiety quite as much recently, and I haven't, you know, almost just felt like stuff was alleviating little by little by little, and then suddenly you kind of like, oh, I feel way better. So
it's like, because my therapist always says, make sure you have a support group around you. And at the time, I've my trust with so many people, I don't, a few things happened. But all I had really was, I got my mate Doyle. He was sober. For anyone out there who knows, they'll know what he was. He was an absolute lunatic, and I've had some amazing times with him. But he was sober because he literally ended up in hospital on a life support machine. So speaking to him, because he's almost like the same as me when it comes to being shy and stuff.
Right.
So I could have a decent chat with him, and he helped a lot. So that was my support group, and my missus, who was just absolutely amazing. You know, she because I live with her, and she stopped her drinking just to help me.
Amazing.
So, and my therapist always says, oh, you need a bigger support group. And I'm just like, oh, I don't know, I just don't. Because I did, not AA, it's called smart meetings.
right.
I did the smart meetings at first. And I didn't, I went in quite positive, but because of everyone's stories, I just, it used to drain me. Yeah. And I used to come out feeling worse than I was going in. So I sort of left there. And I didn't have that support group, but it's important, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. It really, really is. And, you know, we still benefit from doing this podcast by
massively.
Every guest we have on always brings something new to us and, you know, their journey, their experiences. And we always try and take pockets of information. And we've said it before, even since we had Matt Willis on from Busted, who's, you know, he's been sober a long time, but then he was talking about his like gratitude list that he does every day, 3 things, and he's got like a little group of like 3 lads, and every morning they WhatsApp each other 3 things they're grateful for. And then we've started since then, we've done it every day, and then I do it to when I'm not with my missus or I'm working away, I do it the same to her. And I was like, what a wonderful like way, because even if you wake up and you've had like a bit of a shit night's sleep, or you're feeling not quite in a headspace, it makes you think, what actually are the things I am grateful for. You have to remember, like, you know, the privileged position you're in, even having a fucking like roof over your head, and, you know, having a morning coffee, or little things. And it's been a really like good thing for us. So like even things like that, and it's like
I started doing that.
Yeah.
Because my therapist told me to do it, but then I fucking kept forgetting to do it, and I was doing my head in, and I just went in the end.
Yeah.
But it is good though, isn't it, writing it down?
I think so.
In the night time, just before you go to bed.
Yeah. So it's good. But yeah, therapy, like, we are massive advocates of, and I think we're saying, especially now, there's so many of our listeners who are doing dry Jan for the first time, because our listener base is about 50% sober, 50% sober curious, and there's such a big group of people that are doing dry Jan, hundreds, who are, you know, and we're saying, listen, if you do this, it's great, but try and plan things, try and have activities instead of, don't just shut yourself off and, you know, stop speaking to everyone, like, plan stuff, do therapy, like, start just trying to like have these positive things in your life, because it makes a big difference, doesn't it?
I mean, I don't know, everyone's different, but, you know, trying to change 30 years of drinking, like every situation, you know, celebration, birthdays, this, it's fun everywhere. And that's all you've done for 30 years, is trying to change that habit. Isn't going to happen overnight. It's going to take a long, long time. You know, at the moment, Pancho from Sanchez, last year, we go and hang out with each other every now and again, do cold water dips and stuff. Now he's flat out. He always has been. He loves the booze. I'm sure he won't mind me saying. But I said, "Oh, look, Pancho, what about 2024? Let's start your fitness. Let's try and get you in shape." And I said, "But there's only one rule." I said, "There's no drinking." He went, "Right, yeah, okay, I'll do no drinking for dry January." So for this last, since the sec, he didn't.
I'll be following your Insta, actually.
Yeah, he didn't turn up on the first. I'm like, Panch, Pat, and then the phone went down. I'm like, oh no, it started already. He's just gone aloof. And anyway, next day he went, "Oh look, sorry, I had a few on New Year's Day, and right, that's it now." And then picked him up, and just been hanging out with him and his business partner Nige, and Nige jumped onto it. It's just been amazing, man. Hanging out with him, he's doing really well. You know, his colour's starting to come back in his skin, his eyes.
Yep.
He's just fucking loving it. And I bought an alcohol blower thing.
Oh, a little breathalyzer.
Yeah, just because I know what he's like, and he has. Honestly, he doesn't need to try and convince me. I just know he hasn't. Yeah. He hasn't been doing it, and it's just seeing him on Sunday. We did a big fitness thing. And he's grinning from here to next week. He's, "Oh, this is amazing. Everyone's sort of supporting one another. It's infectious and stuff." And I was just like, yeah. He's enjoying it. And if he wasn't enjoying it, I don't think I'd want to be doing it with him, because I know he's not in it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
But he literally is enjoying himself. And I'm hoping, the plan was to do it to the end of January, but we're talking already that I think we're just going to carry it on.
Mate,
I love that.
That's great. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I've certainly got a lot of mates who are big drinkers who are doing dry jam for the first time and are like messaging me and like saying like, "I feel fucking amazing." I'm like, yeah, that's what I've been saying like for so long. But it's really rewarding seeing your mates do it and like the little kind of light bulb going off in their head, thinking actually, because this is the whole reason we started this podcast. I think there's a lot of people, perhaps like millennials, people that are in their 30s, 40s that have just overcooked it for a long time, and like you say, have celebrated birthdays, you know, every possible event of celebration with a glass in their hands, who don't know if life is possible to enjoy without it. And we were like, well, if me and Jamie, who partied so fucking hard and loved the sesh, when the party guys have gone sober and are finding life infinitely better, then we wanted to kind of do this with a view of helping more people, and it seems to be resonating. So it's, you know, I'm glad that the Panch is enjoying it, and yeah.
I mean, even his missus said to me, she goes, I've got a new man. You know, wow. I've got him. He's just back. Yeah. You know, he's present. She said the other day, he said he was bopping around the house. Because I can't remember the last time I've seen him bopping around the house. You know, with a skip in his step. Do you want dinner? And he putting things away and doing stuff rather than sat there in that boozy haze of just, I can't be arsed. And the product, that's another thing. Your productivity with alcohol and drugs and everything else that comes with it, it's not there. No. You know, and I got fucking so much, ever since I stopped drinking, my productivity has gone whoosh, and everything has become better. Yeah. Nothing's got shitter. Yeah. I fucking say, God, I've saved so much money. I could have gone on a round the world cruise in a fucking suite. Like, I couldn't believe how much money I was spending on this stuff.
It's amazing.
It's insane.
When you add it up, it's harrowing.
When you see the app that tells you what you save, you're like,
that's why I got an app.
Dear Lord, what was I doing? We normally end each episode with 3 questions. We're not there yet.
I was going to say, we're not there.
No, we're not there yet. But what I'd like to do is, I think, go into talk about the veganism and your book. You know, at what point how long have you been vegan for?
2015.
Okay, nice. So what, 9 years now?
Yeah.
Cool. And what made you do the switch?
Cut a long story short, I don't want to get it too complicated, but like I was on about earlier, you start waking up and I start seeing what's going on. You start realising that cow's milk is not for us, it's for calves. So why the fuck do we get told different? Yeah. I love animals. Why the hell am I eating them? Because there's no way, if I went to slaughterhouse and saw what they were doing to animals, I'd be crying my eyes up. Yeah. I couldn't kill with myself. So what the fuck am I doing eating animals? I don't need animals to keep me alive. And then I watched cows, and I did a lot of research on it and stuff as well. And whilst I was doing the research, I saw this thing called Cowspiracy on Netflix.
I remember
Watched
seeing
that.
it, yeah.
Next day I went, right, now life changes as of today, and I didn't touch any animal products since.
Amazing. So it was just a very much like, right, that's not happening anymore. And
No, just, it's gone. And being a chef, because I left school, I went to catering college for 2 years.
right.
As you can imagine, it didn't really work out. The job didn't work out. Then I was a window cleaner. Then I was a professional skateboarder. I worked in a factory making heating elements for industry. And then Dirty Sanchez happened. And then I worked for a skate shoe company called Globe as a team manager. And then Dirty Sanchez happened. And then went on from there. And then when I turned vegan, I thought, right, I need to get back in the kitchen. So I started trolling YouTube and looking for ideas and stuff, and then all the vegan pages were goddamn boring. I went, there's a market here. I could bring something here, do it my way. So I started Pritchard's proper vegan cooking on YouTube, did really well. MTV, BBC came knocking, and that's how we came up with this country's first vegan cooking show.
Amazing. And so your most recent book, Dirty Vegan, came out recently?
2000. Dirty Vegan, the TV series, came out 2018.
Yeah.
Second, and then the first book came out off the back of that.
Yeah.
2019, the second book, and then this third one. There was no TV show, but I made the third one. The third was all made off my own back. So that means quite more to me than
Sure.
the other two.
I've actually got it turning up tomorrow, so I'm yet to cook from it, but I will, because I'm into my food. And
I reckon you should deliver me and G
I will
some
do
of
it.
Matthew's meals, and next time we record a pod.
I will do it. But I think, you tapped into a market. I mean, one of the first books that kind of excited me to actually cook from the vegan stuff was the Thug Kitchen book, which I really enjoyed. And, I think I mentioned it earlier, like, I was raised vegan, which is quite unusual.
You did, yeah.
Which, my mum's been super into her nutrition. She's been vegan for as long as I can remember. And, it's always been like food is a passion of mine. And whilst I'm not vegan now, I still eat a lot of vegan food because it's so healthy. And, I love the nutrition aspect of it all. So I'm looking forward to getting into your book and cooking some recipes.
Yeah, enjoy it, man. It's called Fast and Easy, because, a lot of people who follow me, they're not cooks.
Yeah.
A lot of them can't even cook. The thought of being in the kitchen is like, whoa. And you wouldn't believe how many, just like the simplest recipes, they can't even do them. So the whole idea behind this book was to get people who would normally be in the kitchen. This book would be no good for anyone who could cook.
Yeah.
Apart from one or two recipes. Yeah. Because they'll be like, so this is made for those people who think they can't cook, and I'd like to get them in the kitchen and so they can find out how therapeutic cooking can be, which again helps for your mental health. Switch off life and just keep concentrating on what you're doing in the kitchen. And of course, everyone's just so busy these days. And having a quick and easy recipe to come home to and cheap, it's fucking brilliant. So that's made for them.
Anything sub half an hour is for me.
Sub half hour.
Yeah,
that's the dream.
That's it.
But there's a few recipes in there as well. So if you've got some spare time on the weekend, you've got, you can have a really good go.
Amazing. I was going to ask actually, with the link with like nutrition and veganism and sobriety, have you found there's been a link in terms of, since you've gone sober, enjoying food more or your palate evolving? Has there been any link with that? Because I felt like my taste buds came back.
No, not really. I absolutely love wine with food.
Right.
I used to love wine cooking.
Right.
You have a wine bottle. You'd have to get 2 bottles. One for cooking,
one for after,
one for sitting and eating your meal, and then if it was a weekend, another one for fucking pudding. But food and wine, they just complement one another. I do miss it.
Yeah.
But for that reason, but I don't miss it for all the other reasons.
I'm actually interested to see, because there's a few chefs that I'm big fans of. One of them called Adam Handling. He's got a great restaurant down in Cornwall called The Ugly Butterfly. I love it. But he's now got a non-alcoholic wine pairing at the Frog in Covent Garden.
No way.
Which I'm going to try soon. Yeah, so they've de-alcoholized 5 of their wines. So they do full as like a normal pairing, but it's with non-alcoholic ones. So I'm looking forward to trying that.
Fuck, that sounds fucking banging.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to checking that out. So I think there's like more and more restaurants are kind of clocking on that actually there is still a market for people like yourself, myself, who love wine with food. Because I do miss that probably more than any other bit of alcohol, was like that pairing aspect of it, because it does go together. So.
Food and wine amazingly goes together, and when you've been for a really long run or a big bike ride, I couldn't think of anything better than getting in and cracking open a beer.
Yeah.
Oh, so good, man.
Do you like
but
the
then
zero?
that beer was like, and you sort of relax with the alcohol and everything, and you go, another one. You know what happens next.
I was going to say, oh yeah, it's true. Do you find that do you enjoy the zero beers and zero alcohol range?
You know, like the ones like Heineken and all them kind of ones are not. I like them, but only one or two of them.
Yeah.
I find them middle. But then the craft ales, the IPAs, they're insane.
Yeah.
Like I'll have them in the fridge, and that's my drink.
Yeah.
They're banging. It feels like I'm drinking an IPA, and they're nice and fruity, and they got body to them, and I really like it. But as like the big brand, non-alcoholics, they're not as good. And it's great for when you go out with your mates, because it feels like you're having a drink with them.
Still have the social.
Yeah, I did something the other day where like it was so funny because I know it's a zero, but it was like 11 a.m. and I opened my fridge and I was like, oh, it's a lucky saint in there. I really fancy that. And then I stopped myself from having it because like it's 11 a.m. You can't have a beer. And I got in the car and I was like, it's a fucking zero. Like, of course I could have had it if I wanted it. It was so,
I've done it.
Such a weird
I've
thing.
fucking done it. And I'm like, well, I can drink it because there's no beer in it. My missus is like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, it's not alcoholic. It's just a drink. It's a drink.
So true.
That's true. I mean, the only reason I've stopped myself from doing that before is because when I stopped drinking, I said I'm still going to drink exactly the same as I did, but with zeros. So I still have airport zeros. I'll still like go out with the boys. I'll have like 10, 11 pints and like out on zero. Don't feel particularly great, but I'm still like...
I was about to say, you're a brave man.
10 or 11 pints.
I'll do it still.
Fuck, you monster.
I know. It's out of control.
Even G's crying, and he's Irish.
Do you take a load of flour out as well and do a few lines of flour?
But no, I've done it a couple of times where I've done like a full night out and just been like... Just kept going.
Walk in the pub with a little bit of flour.
What's that? 3 for 1?
What's that? Oh no, it's maca powder. Like,
I tell you, like, there's one thing I don't miss alcohol whatsoever. I don't. What's done is done now, and I just love being sober. I wake up. I love being sober. I love the energy I've got. I love everything about it. But I do sometimes dream of having like a 4 to 6 pint head on, followed by a massive slug. Like, I know. And then wait for it to kick in and go, and then just literally just go for a bit, and then go, you cunt, because you know you have to do another one, and then you go, and then you can't talk. You're in a house party, you go, and then that's when I think. That's why I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah. Mate, you're so spot on. I had this conversation with some of the boys at football the other day, because I was like, in a world, if I could drink between 12 and 5 with the game at 3, and then that would be it, you'd be like, cool, that's healthy. But I know that actually that reality is start at 9 a.m, finish at probably 8 a.m. the next day. And then you're back in your head. And
8 a.m. next day, fucking part-timer, are you?
Well, that's what they say, isn't it? It's just like the easiest beer to say no to is always the first.
Yeah.
So beyond that, you're just torturing yourself.
Yeah, as soon as you do one of them, you're like, that's it. You're fucking on tree. Because I was speaking to Panch the other day. We'd finished this time I sat in the pub with Panch after a day out. We had 3 non-alcoholic beers, and his mate was saying, "Oh yeah, but this is great." Like, and I'm like, well, if this was alcoholic now, I'd sit there and I'd have 1 pint and go, "Wow, that's lovely." Then go for the next one, and as soon as that next one, half of that next one comes in, I'll start thinking, right, what am I doing tomorrow? I'm like, I haven't got anything in my diary. Yeah.
Can I write tomorrow?
Then the second one's gone. I'm like, what numbers have I got on my phone now? How much money have I? How much cash have I got?
Yeah.
Can I get 1? Can I get 2? Can I get a quarter? And by the time you're third, you're on the phone.
100%.
And Pancho was laughing his head off because that's the fucking mind of a.
Yeah. And we talk about this a lot, actually. Yeah, because And we talked about this a lot in our early podcast of like what addiction is, because I would safely say that like I would never wake up and be like, oh, I'm going to do coke today. But if I knew that I was going to the pub and having 4 or 5 pints, I'd already be thinking about, okay, well, how can I pick up? What's the easiest way to pick up and where? So in a way, like I would class myself as an addict, but just not in the sense that it would be at 8 a.m. Wake up, do a line. But I'd still be planning all of those things that you've just mentioned.
That's still an addiction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're thinking about it that far ahead. Like, that's proper planning. Good shit, man.
I'm a manager.
The
artist does it, the manager does it.
4 hours before.
No, that's it. I think it might be time.
For the big 3.
I think so.
Let's do it.
So I'll take number 1 or 2. I'll let you have 3. This is a good format. So for anyone that's thinking about going on a journey of sobriety, what would your biggest single best piece of advice be?
Oh, just do it. Honestly, just do it. It's not the, I don't know, this is an hard one. Because if you're young and you enjoy drinking, get on with it. Have a laugh. You know, you might find out the hard way later on, but I'm not gonna preach.
Yeah. No.
I hate preaching. You know, just if you're loving it, just get on with it. But if you are thinking because you know you've got a problem, then I highly recommend it, because you'll be surprised how much your life changes, and you will fit so much more into your life, and you'll be a better person to your closest people, friends, family, and loved ones as well.
Thank you. That's great. It's great advice. Question 2: what's the single best thing about sobriety for you that it's brought you?
Living in the present.
Yeah, that's great.
Living in the present and just being able to do so much more.
Yeah, that presence thing for me is so prevalent. Like, I always felt like I was really engaged when I was talking to people when I was out partying.
Oh, yeah.
And then now I think, it was funny actually, one of the Welsh boys, one of the Kids in Glass Houses boys, said to a friend of mine the last time I saw them in May, they were like, oh, it was so nice to see Jamie. He was really present in that conversation. And at first I was a bit like, not offended, but I was a bit like, oh, what did I used to be like? And then I thought, fuck me. We've known each other for 15 years and I probably was always like a fucking meerkat.
Yeah.
There's nothing more boring than a fucking cokehead. It's like, shit. Yeah.
It's like you've told me that 7 times already.
Yeah, shut up. Number 3.
Final question. We ask our guests to write a letter to their drunk self. So I would like you to write a letter from Mathew now to Pritchard, saying, Dear Pritchard.
Dear Pritchard, shut the fuck up. That's all it is. Because
I fucking love it.
The amount of shit I've spouted over the years, just pointless crap. So, dear Mr. Pritchard, shut the fuck up, will you please?
Mate, that's amazing. Thank you so much for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me, boys.
It's been so amazing, and
like,
thank you, because I think we've had such an array of guests on here, but your journey is amazing, and it's so nice to see there's now a link between the veganism and nutrition, and so good to see you doing so well on your sobriety journey. So we look forward to
great.
Thanks, man.
keeping it. We'll make sure our guests check out that book.
Cool. Yeah, check out my book, man. It's in all good bookshops.
I'll do a little post when the episode goes out with the book at home as well. So I'll do a little recipe.
You have the book there, won't you? Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Cook a recipe for me.
I will.
You can put it in the thing.
I will. I'll put it up on the stories and
do a live cook along.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna start whoring you out.
Well, you do one.
Exactly.
Put it on the thing.
Yeah, we'll do.
I'll give you a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Online.
Maybe no, thank you so much. It's been an honour to have you on. So appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.